Uh-oh. At that time, I heard the sudden sound of someone trying to force the locked door open. Locked door? I thought she unlocked it. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't she lock it first, but then decided to not lock it after all? Or there's just the chain. I guess there's a... I'm not sure right now. Oh, it was unlocked. The voice was Hideyoshi's. I heard that quiet voice as though he was talking to himself, coming from what was probably the hallway. Apparently he had thought it was locked and tried to unlock it, but had ended up locking the unlocked door instead. That's funny. Okay, never mind. She did unlock it again, and this is what... Yeah, okay, I get it. Once again there was the sound of the lock turning, and now the door opened with a faint sound. Why is Hideyoshi-san in this room? Footsteps that sounded like his came in, and there was the sound of him closing and locking the door behind him. Then came what seemed to be the sound of him setting the chain. Don't tell me, Hideyoshi-san is the mastermind, or else an accomplice? Is he planning to do something to me in this room? It would take some time to unlock the door from the side, much less remove the chain. If Hideyoshi-san doesn't intend to let me escape from here, he won't give me enough time to undo the chain. In that case, if he opens the closet door and sees me crouching here pathetically, just what kind of fearsome words will he say? I don't want to be found. I don't want to be found. I don't want to be found. I beg you, pass right on by the closet door. Please keep going into the center of the room. My head was so filled with a throbbing sound that it felt like it was about to explode, and I almost missed hearing my noisy footsteps. Clock tower, yeah. So when I heard a clonking sound coming from the center of the room, I finally realized that he had passed by the closet and was deeply relieved. Maybe he just went there to smoke. Is that, Yeah, okay, that's Hideyoshi. Just in case, this weather's pretty much night out there anyway. As he whispered, he did something that made a clunking sound. It was probably closing the shutters on the windows. Just in case? In case I tried to escape out the window? No, that can't be it. That's right. When I left the parlor, everyone was talking about possibly taking a break. After all, several murders have occurred, and the weather is bad. There'd be nothing abnormal if someone chose to rest in a guest room here instead of returning to the guest house. In that case, locking up and closing the shutters to guarantee safety is the proper course of action to take. When he finished closing the shutters, there was a thunk, as though he had flopped over on the bed. It was surprising how much of the situation could be grasped just by the sound. What's going on here? Did the man from 19 years ago plan all this out to put me in the same room as Hideyoshi-san? No, that probably isn't true. He probably planned on me hiding here, but Hideyoshi-san coming to take a rest here must have been outside the scope of his plan. Thinking about it that way, having him in the room might be odd, but it also might guarantee my own safety. Unlike his wife, Hideyoshi-san is the kind of person I can talk to. If Ifa-san comes, things will probably get complicated. Maybe I should slip out of this closet now while he's still alone, reveal everything to just him and ask for help. But if I do that, my husband might be killed. Until my husband is released, I shouldn't do anything rash. Should I go out and talk or hide in here? Moaning from my headache and biting my lower lip, I resisted the urge to crawl out of here. Even if I talk with Hideyoshi-san, I don't know where my husband is being held. I'm sure the traitor who's observing me is nearby. Just talking to him won't solve everything. I suspect that Shannon is the traitor, but that's no proof that Goda and the others aren't. It's all useless. I guess leaving here and confessing is too dangerous after all. Eventually I heard a strange sobbing voice. Oh well, I mean, okay, he lost a son. Whose voice was it? I strained my ears trying to hear that strange voice. I was shocked to discover that it was Hideyoshi weeping. Hideyoshi, who had lost his only son, was finally able to shed tears and cry, now that he was all alone like this. Thinking that he needed to support Aoife in her distress, he acted as though he alone was standing firm. However, he has as good a right to cry as anyone. And now that he's found a place where no one can see his tears, he finally let himself do it. And I have lost my daughter. I haven't seen her corpse with my own eyes, so it still doesn't really feel like she's dead. But if the one who carried her off was the culprit, and he had some repulsive motive for doing it. Just thinking about it makes it feel as though my chest will tear itself apart. The reason I'm hiding in here now is that I'm thinking more about my still living husband than my dead daughter. But if I were given the chance, I'd be wailing at the top of my lungs too. However, I still cannot let myself do that. It isn't because the man from 19 years ago told me to hide. It's because I'm the final head of the Yoshidomiya family. It's been completely overshadowed by the recent uproar, but last night Betlakun found the hidden gold and even gained the head's ring from that mysterious envelope. At the very, very end, when it's all over, I probably won't be able to prevent his ascension as the head, and when everything regarding the distribution of the inheritance is revealed, the Yoshidomiya family honor and glory passed down from father will plummet to the earth. So I am the final head. Betlakun will probably inherit the remaining wealth of the Yoshidomiya family. However, its history and honor will all end with my generation. Therefore, I am the final head. I must not cry. Not yet. Until I get my husband back and avenge my daughter, I will not be allowed to shed tears. In the closet, I silently hung my head as I listened to Hideyoshi-san's sobs. Uh-oh. Who are you? Huh? My heart leapt. I heard a sound that must have been Hideyoshi-san, who had probably been lying prostrate on the bed, bounding to his feet. Keep in mind, he did lock the door. So, if it's not her he noticed, then there must have already been somebody else in there? Did he notice me? How did you get in here? What's that? Wait a sec. What? He was clearly in a struggle with someone. Do you want to check something? So this kind of does sound like he doesn't know the person, right? I was just looking if there was any clue in the Japanese that made it clear that he knows who it is. Still, it could be somebody he knows, but just wearing a cloak or something. He was clearly in a struggle with someone. Who on earth could it be? No, it doesn't matter who it is. It's probably the culprit, and they're probably trying to take Hideyoshi-san's life. Shouldn't I jump out of here and help him? If I can't help him, shouldn't I call for help? No, but if I do something like that, I'll be questioned about why I was hiding here in the first place. Or if Hideyoshi-san gets killed like this. No, now isn't the time to be saying that. At this rate, he'll certainly be killed. I'll jump out of here and help him right now. No, but if I do that, even if I can save Hideyoshi-san, I might be abandoning my husband's life. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in her position. Hideyoshi-san's life and my husband's life. How sinful it would be to try and weigh those against each other. At that time there was a loud sound as the door opened and the chain was pulled tight. Someone was trying to open the door despite the chain being set. Huh? Dear, it's me. Could you open up? I guess that's Eva then. Eva. Dear, what's happening? Dear, open up. Open up, dear. Someone. She opened and closed the door over and over again with all her might, but of course she couldn't snap the chain. Eva-san called for help in a loud voice and raced through the hallway. By this time the room had settled back into silence, and that earlier sense of Hideyoshi being in a noisy struggle had disappeared completely. What's going on here? So right now I'm in the same room as the murderer who killed Hideyoshi-san? In that case, the culprit should try to escape from the room as soon as possible, so why are they hiding in here? I haven't heard anything. Nothing that might have been the culprit who attacked Hideyoshi-san rushing away. No matter how much I strain my ears, I can't sense anyone in the room. In fact, it's so silent that it makes what happened just a second ago feel like an illusion. In other words, does this mean that the culprit is hiding his breath? Standing just outside this closet, waiting for me to stumble out? I don't even know what I should be scared of anymore. If only I could just melt away into the darkness of this closet. I mustn't remain in this room any longer. I get the feeling I have more to worry about than just my personal safety. But what should I do? I don't even know if it's a good idea to leave this closet. Eventually the clamor of many rushing footsteps approached. Damn, if they're gonna open the closet and find her in there, it's not good. I'll hold my breath again and melt away into the darkness of the closet. Eva dashed back, bringing everyone with her. Gora was gripping some wire cutters to cut the chain with. After trying to open the door again and confirming that the chain was still set, she yelled through the crack in the door.
Dear, we're going to open this up. Cut it right now.
Yes. Gora stuck the large wire cutter, which looked like it could slice off a whole finger, through the crack of the door, and easily severed the chain.
Dear!
As soon as it was severed, Eva pushed Gora aside and dashed in. The others tried to follow her, but they bumped into Eva, who had fallen to her knees, moaning. So even though they couldn't tell much of what was going on inside the room, they could tell by Eva's moans that they were too late. What the hell?
Dear, Dr. Nanjo, look at my husband quickly.
I'll do it right now. You've got to be kidding me. It's only been about 10 minutes since Uncle Hideyoshi went out saying he wanted to rest. Is there anyone in the bathroom?
No, there's no one here.
What could have happened?
Dear. I'm afraid to say that there's nothing I can do.
Nanjo stood up, hanging his head sadly. It was only natural. Did I just hear the sound of... Yeah, his corpse was found in a guest room on the first floor of the mansion. A demon stake had pierced through his back. The tip of it reached as far as his lungs, because he was lying face down on the bed. It is unthinkable that this was a suicide. Damn, I was just about to present you my suicide theory. It was only natural, because anyone, even if they weren't a doctor, would think that at a glance. Hideyoshi was lying face down on the bed, and stuck deep into his back was something like a blade with an intricate demonic design on it. When Eva pulled it out with all her might, why would you do that? They could tell that it wasn't a blade, but some kind of stake. And its sharp tip had penetrated nearly 15 centimeters in. It had probably dug deep into the lungs. If it had been stuck in any harder, the tip might even have pierced all the way through to the surface of his chest.
Didn't I tell you to wait for me? Why did you go on alone? Stupid.
Yeah, she's not having a good day, I would say. I do feel sorry for her. Just lost her son and now has to find her husband dead. As unsympathetic as she was in episode 4, I can still feel sorry for her here. Naturally, I should. The culprit probably waited for us to get killed and split up. That bastard. So he still hasn't had enough blood.
So he really is hiding somewhere in this mansion and coming after us.
But there's something strange here. The doors and windows to this room are completely sealed. That's right. The shutters are all shut and the door chain was set until a second ago.
Huh? Well, that's crazy. In that case, how did the culprit attack Hideyoshi-san in this room?
Maybe they threw the stake through the crack in the door.
Hideyoshi-san's bed is in a total blind spot from this crack. You couldn't even kill him with a gun.
This really is strange. It's a closed room murder. Once again.
A closed room murder?
It's a bit too early to be sure about that. Maybe you removed the ceiling in the bathroom and escaped to the space above it, or maybe you can close the shutters from outside.
The shutters. They didn't budge an inch from the outside. I just went and checked.
Erika. It's no wonder everything felt so quiet and relaxed. At some point, Erika had split from the group. Just now she had finally arrived and poked her face in from the hallway. When she heard that a crime had occurred in this room, she had watched everyone rush towards the room and circle around to the outer wall herself, and she had gone all by herself to check that the shutter was down on the window, that you couldn't do anything with it from the outside, and that there was nothing out of the ordinary.
Is the inside of the room just like usual?
There's no need to say it like that.
My deepest condolences. So, what's the situation inside the room?
The chain was set on the door, so we cut it and entered. And all the windows have the shutters down. The lock tied from the inside.
What are they bickering about in there?
Eva was arguing with Nanjo about something. Apparently she wanted to carry the corpse to the parlor. Nanjo tried to calm her, saying that they should leave the crime scene as untouched as possible until the police came.
What happened to the other corpses? The culprit carried them off somewhere, right? It may be that the culprit isn't satisfied with just killing, but intends to do something with the corpses.
Yeah, I forgot. She got a point there. At first, I thought, why would you carry him away? You should preserve the crime scene. But she does have a point. All the other corpses disappeared, so I can see how it would perhaps be wise to bring the corpse somewhere and keep an eye on it, even though that doesn't sound like a pleasant thing to do.
Oh, no way we're leaving my husband all alone here.
If it does have a point, after all the victims before now have all been carried away after we were shown their terrible wounds. Erika-chan, you'd probably like to preserve the crime scene, but could you just let this one slide?
Do whatever you want. All I'm interested in is the fact that a closed room has appeared that's much more serious than Kinzel-san's study. I have no interest in corpses, so do as you please.
Shouldn't you have some interest in corpses as a detective, though? I mean, doesn't finding out how the person was killed also give you huge clues? Battler's expression was clearly unhappy, but she ignored him completely.
Feel free to carry the corpse out any time, or am I in the way?
Erika backed away from the door to open a path. She showed no trace of any sadness for the dead. Her eyes simply blazed with thoughts of this closed-room murder that had appeared. In any event, the great detective had given her permission. Ifa and some others wrapped Hideyoshi up in the sheets, and Goda and Rudolph carried them out. The sheets were quickly stained red. It was so painful to see that Shannon and Kumasawa stripped the blanket of the bed to further cover the corpse. Hey, out of the way.
Yes, I am out of the way.
Let's go to the parlor.
Yes. Dear. Listen up, everyone. From now on, we'll always move as a group. You must not let yourself be isolated.
When the culprit attacked Genji, he probably got a master key. It's clear that even locking up will no longer make you safe.
But even the chain was set. How did they do it?
It's impossible. The shutters and the chain were firmly set. Even with the master key, it'd be impossible to force your way into that room.
It must have been Beatrice-sama's doing. Oh.
Why has nobody yet started checking the closet?
There's no way Beatrice-sama did this. The epitaph has been solved, so there shouldn't be any more reason to hold the ceremony.
Of course we can't understand it. This would be impossible for anyone except a witch.
Impossible for anyone except a witch, you say? Good, though. Has a nice ring to it.
Erika-chan, are you listening? We've decided to stick together from now on. First, we're carrying Hideyoshi-san's corpse to the parlor. Can you hold off playing detective until we get there? When she heard the words playing detective, Erika grimaced visibly. Then everyone stumbled out and she took a single step into the now empty guest room, looked around and burned that scene into her eyes. Erika claimed to have a photographic memory. If that was true, those few seconds were more than enough for her. Later on, she could sip black tea in the parlor while perusing the photograph of the scene inside her memory, playing the part of an armchair detective. Then suddenly, her eyes stopped on the closet off to the side. Uh-oh. A closet for hanging overcoats. If it was large enough to fit a coat on a hanger, a person should be able to hide in it. Slowly, Erika stretched her hand out towards the closet. Erika's shoulder was grabbed roughly from behind. Let's go, Miss Detective. Didn't you ever learn how to stick together on school field trips?
Well, whenever I go traveling, someone always dies.
Maybe you shouldn't go traveling then. Hey, what do you think you're doing, Brant? Come quickly! I knew it was Rudolph. Rudolph told them to hurry. After clicking her tongue and glaring at the closet, Erika followed Bella back to the parlor for the time being. The sound of their footsteps finally faded. The time of terror, when I feared that even the dripping of the cold sweat covering my cheeks might be noticed, had finally ended. By the way, where's the cat now? Okay, it gave up, sleeping on the chair now. With my hand that still couldn't stop trembling, I slowly opened the closet door and dashed out into the hallway. She should probably hurry to her room now. It's okay, no one's found me. Still, it's a good thing they didn't lock the door. If they had, I wouldn't be able to lock it behind me after I left, and they'd find that suspicious. Anyway, I should leave this place. Then I'll return to my room and pretend that I was sleeping the whole time. Yes, if I don't get back soon, a new murder has occurred. They'll probably try to tell me about it. and they'll probably do it shortly after they carry Hideyoshi-san's corpse back to the parlor. I can get around a phone call by saying I was asleep and didn't notice, but if they come knocking directly, that'll be bad. I have to get back quickly before they try to force their way in. I don't know whether I should run all out noisily, hide my footsteps and walk in secret, or walk around normally as though nothing has happened. At the very least, it'll be bad if I bump into them on their way back to the parlor. Anyway, I'll head to my room at a quick pace without being noticed by anyone. I pass through the hallway to the lobby. If I go up the big staircase in the lobby, my room is just a little bit. Can't catch a break, can you? That face. Natsui-san. Just as she was about to go up the large staircase, Natsui heard Erika, of all people, Erika call out to her, and was so surprised that she visibly jumped. I was just about to go and tell you the news. Thank you very much. Did something happen? Just now, Natsuhi-san, you were climbing the stairs, right? Your room's upstairs, isn't it? Erika coldly pointed out this strange fact. Natsuhi cursed her bad luck. I couldn't sleep, so I was going to return to the parlor, but I wasn't sure whether I had locked my room or not, so I was about to head back. I'm a worrier, so this sort of thing happens a lot. Don't worry about it. At least she came up with something believable quite quickly. Don't think Erika is going to buy it, but it was at least not completely something like totally far-fetched. Yeah, that sort of thing does happen a lot. It's a common quirk among people who aren't confident in their memory. Normally, since Erika was clearly making fun of her, Natsui might have looked annoyed. However, right now, Natsui was extremely relieved to hear Erika admit that this sort of thing happened a lot. Why are you by yourself, Erika-san? I thought I'd investigate that guest room. Guest room? Yep. The situation has gotten pretty serious, hasn't it? And investigating the scene of the crime is my right. Erika's probing gaze peered deep into Natsui's eyes. She could tell. Erika already suspected Natsui. Judging by the subtle nuance in her words, she must be planning to make me slip up and reveal that I know about the crime with Hideyoshi. Yeah, I figured that as well. When I supposedly haven't been told about it yet, Natsui played dumb and asked what had happened again. Is something wrong? No, it's nothing. This is just a repeat of the first crime, isn't it? What do you mean? Again, you were in your room. And again, you can't prove your alibi, can you? I don't know what you mean. To turn it around, how can you prove that I wasn't in my room? Ah, that. Then let's take this one step at a time. Please worry about your luck later. I have something vitally important to discuss with everyone. I'll come back after I check my lock. Please get started without me. Hideyoshi-san has been killed. We'll be talking about that. What? She had planned on using the need to check her lock as an excuse to escape to her own room, after which she would claim to have a sudden headache and stay in bed the rest of the time. However, now that she had been informed of Hideyoshi's murder, it would be clearly suspicious to postpone that and escape to her room. She was already under suspicion just because she'd been seen heading up the stairs to the second floor. She couldn't afford to do anything else suspicious. Natsuhi gave up and headed for the parlor as Erika had urged her to do. When she opened the door to the parlor, Ifa's sobs poured out, and everyone glanced at Natsuhi with grave faces. Those gazes almost made it look as though they suspected Natsuhi. It was now painfully apparent to Natsuhi. This must have been what that man was after. It was a trap to create a baffling closed room mystery and try to frame her for it. However, she couldn't have resisted. She couldn't sacrifice her husband's life. And while it's true I hid in the closet, that's all I did. I definitely haven't committed murder. I might be extremely suspicious, but I'm not the culprit. And most importantly, I'm not under suspicion yet. I'll tell the police everything. I'll have to endure until then. I'm sure one of the servants is a traitor. Even in a situation like this, if I mention my husband being held hostage, the culprit will hear and might use it as an excuse to kill him. Natsui-san has just come back. I guess now we're going to get the scene that we got at the beginning of episode 5, where Erika is going to accuse Natsuhi. Now that we're all here, I have something very important to discuss with you all. Something very important? Yes, it's very important. I'd like to lay out everything in front of you all, starting with the first crime. Then please do that with just the others. I think we should leave that sort of thing to the police. I'm not interested.
Since I have it all laid out, this is a very important thing to discuss. Neither you nor anyone else has the right to refuse. What?
Erika used her detective's authority to proclaim the start of an assembly. None of the pieces could disobey. Praying that she wouldn't become the topic of conversation, Natsuhi reluctantly sat on the sofa as she had been urged to.
Oh, sorry. Could you close that door for me?
Yes. Shannon and Connor closed the door. Since it had been decided a short while ago to lock all doors and windows carefully, Connor locked it. That lock, which existed to protect the safety of this room, felt like a lock on a prison cell to Natsuhi, one that would hold her in place and prevent any escape. Natsuhi still hadn't noticed. Though Erika had gone into the corridor to check the crime scene in Hideyoshi's room, her goal had changed. In other words, from Erika's point of view, the sound of that lock was truly...
Checkmate.
Erika said that suddenly. Bernd Castell said that suddenly.
Oh, fast! Wow, so you figured out the culprit already? We've barely gotten to any of the crimes, right? You could have just let me kill a few more and gathered a few clues yourself. Okay, Lambda, gather all the pieces. Now we're getting to the most interesting part. Let's both enjoy to the fullest. Well, let's see. Why don't you show me what you've got?
To think she'd lay down the challenge without waiting for game set at midnight?
What a hasty person that Lady Bancastle.
I mean, it's quite an early challenge, and it's gonna fail spectacularly if you ask me. That's my prediction right now. To think that she's already managed to obtain a winning hand at this stage.
Normally you can win by just claiming that a witch exists. But with Natsuhi and Kinzo, we've got a lot winning to protect this time. Sounds like this fight will be a pain.
It's no problem at all. I won't let them do as they please with my golden island any longer.
Bring it on, Lady Bancastle. Ururu Erika.
Hey, I wanted them to bring it on. Why are you bringing me to the Golden Land now? Oh well. In the Golden Land, the endless rain continued to fall. Can we have the nice piano piece again? I always like hearing that. Battler was nowhere to be seen. It would very soon reach the time that Battler had joined in on the 5th game, and control of the pieces would be passed on to Battler. In other words, he would only be officially added to the game now in this final stage, where Bernd Castell had pinpointed the culprit, so he had left the arbor a short while ago. Now the only ones inside were Virgilia, who continued to knit silently, and Beato, who just sat there blankly amidst the smell of her black tea, not even putting the cup to her lips. Virgilia stopped knitting for a moment, and looked out across the vast golden rose garden that extended as far as the eye could see. I believe it's safe to say that at least in the game over who the culprit is, Battler has gained such strength that he will never surrender again. By the 4th game, you had sent him all your messages. In other words, at this time Battler-kun is capable of realizing the truth at any moment. However, he is still soft in some ways. So, even if the games continue like this 100 times, he won't solve it for all eternity. He'll just wander forever, like someone trying to find the blue bird. And that is you, Beatrice. It's the same for you. Even if this game continues hundreds more times, you will never reach the answer you seek for all eternity. Bernd Castell will abuse this game without a doubt. Lambda Delta will also churn this game about with the utmost arrogance. At a glance, that may be humiliating and appear to you and Battler as though the game has been stolen from you. However, that is something the two of you need right now, to end Battler's naive softness, to end your hesitation. And that is why you called the two of them here, to end the eternal torture between you. Those two will bring you either victory or defeat, but no matter how it goes, that result has already been filled with compassion. You should understand that as well by now. Virgilia faced Beato, whom she had come to adore as a daughter, with cold eyes that she must not have shown often. It was like the gaze of a mother who, instead of scolding, silently urges their child to recognize their mistake. Beatrice, how long do you intend to stay there, neither alive nor dead, not rising up to heaven, nor falling into hell, there on the peak of Mount Purgatory? I am Virgilia. I have guided him through Purgatory and brought him to you at its peak, and you are Beatrice. You must choose whether to take his hand and rise up to heaven, or grab him and fall into hell. Did you know that the discord called purgatory, which lies in the gap between heaven and hell, is sometimes more torturous than even hell itself? On the gates of hell it is written that you must abandon all hope. A human without hope can accept their suffering and give up. However, the residents of purgatory have hope, a hope of possibly reaching heaven, a hope that cannot be abandoned, and it tortures them. Even in the depth of hell, no greater torture device exists than the single pin known as hope. Fly from the cliffs of purgatory. Take with you the regrets caused by your fleeting, fragile, foolish hopes and open up Pandora's box. Are you scared? Scared of opening the box? Beato was silent, but with a single tear she nodded slightly. Is the cat in the box alive or dead? The time has now come to check. If the cat is dead, quickly hold a funeral for it and have it rise to heaven. If the cat is alive, quickly feed it and give it all of your affection. Whether it is alive or dead, your cat box eternally desecrates the cat. The key to the box that you were afraid to open has been brought to you by those two. Beatrice, it's time for you to die now. I hope that your heart is stopped by the hand of the person you desire. Hold on. Why are we jumping forward so much? Hello? What the hell? Hello? Didn't... I wanted to hear Erika. Okay, I guess not.